Thanks Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Hi, it's been a while. If you're new here, my name's Bethany. I'm the girl behind Well Loved Knits. It's been a long time since I've said that. I didn't mean to take as much time as I did. It was just really nice. The last video that I posted was in June, or probably after June. I don't really remember. 6 months ago, probably. And after that, I turned off my camera, disconnected from Instagram, from YouTube, and I just enjoyed being a mom of two very fun, energetic boys. It was a learning curve at first, as you can imagine. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I gave birth to my second son in June, and since then, I've just been adjusting. We have been adjusting to a family of 4. I've been adjusting to staying home with 2 boys instead of just my toddler, keeping up with my toddler. Arthur is growing up. He just turned 2 in September, and you know, if you have a toddler at home, you kind of know. I don't have to say anything. I don't really do Instagram, social media at all for my personal life. I don't post anything. So I was really offline. And it was really nice. I can highly recommend it. I'll probably talk about it at length again in videos, next upcoming videos, whatever. I'm sure I can only sing the praises of just having some time off your phone. Like quite literally deleting all of your apps and just being present in the moment. It's so rejuvenating. And you really don't even realize how much you need it until you're used to it. It's weird at first, but then afterwards it's totally normal. I wanted to go off of that and I kind of lost my train of thought. Basically, I'll just let you know that with this video, I hope I'm back. With this video, I hope I can say that I am back and posting more regularly here on YouTube. One thing I can say for sure is that while it was so nice to just take a step back from Instagram knitting content, what have you, I did realize that I don't have knitting friends in my personal life, like real life. So that is something that I have been lacking, and I really am looking forward to being able to share what I'm working on, because I just don't have any people in my life that are really all that interested in talking about knitting as much as you guys are. So I missed you very much. Not to say that I didn't, you know. This is going to be, I'm coming back very excited to be back and to be sharing more content about making things and encouraging others, hopefully, to be proud of what they make and to love what they make. Make what you love. That's always been the tagline. So with this video, I'm going to get back into the swing of things and kind of catch you up on what I didn't share over the last couple of months, because even though I was, away from the camera, I was still making things. I did take a little bit of a break at the very start of my postpartum, like maybe 2 months or so. I finished up a big project and then I moved on to other things. I was doing puzzles, I did paint by numbers, just things to kind of reinvigorate myself, to learn something new, to do something new. I benefit from that from time to time, and I love doing puzzles. It was so fun. It made me feel so smart when I completed one. And they're also really fun to decorate around the house. So it's a win-win for me because I'm still kind of struggling in that area. But before we go on like a huge tangent, I gotta show you my laundry basket. I'm gonna have a lot of bloopers, I think. I am going to show you my laundry basket, which is a very mom thing to do, I think, to put all of my whips in this nice laundry basket here. And we're just gonna go through some of the things that I made last year. These are all of my finished objects, really. I don't think I really knit any accessories that count as a finished object for 2024. So you've definitely seen some of these sweaters. While I was updating a little bit last year, I did show a lot of these. But there are some that you have not seen yet, and so I will start with those and then we will get into the ones that you've already seen, and we'll just do like a little summary of that. What else to say, really? I am proud of myself because this is something that I've always wanted to do, but I never actually thought I would stick to, and I can proudly say that for the most part I did. This maker's notebook right here, from Making Treasures, definitely check that out. I will try to leave it linked in the description. I made an entry for all of my whips, and I kept up with it pretty well. So if I need to, I can reference these projects that I'm talking about, which I'm so proud of. So we'll talk about the finished objects, and then if I have time and energy, I would love to share with you where I left off with my whips from last year, and then those will be the projects that I am mainly focused on at the beginning of 2025, and we'll do my utmost to finish them. So first on the pile is this gorgeous, gorgeous color of a sweater. It's been a while. I don't know if you would actually recognize it, but I feel like I just talked about this combination of yarn. It was actually used for another project. So before I get into the project that it currently is, I'll let you guess, maybe if you want to play a little game with yourself, if you can guess what sweater this is, but if you've seen on Instagram, then you're disqualified. This combination of yarn was actually knit for the Hilda Structure sweater that I started mid last year, and that's a really beautiful textured knit. I really loved it, but I only got as far as the back yoke, and then I kind of just let it sit. And it's one of those things where I had multiple whips going, and which one won out, that one lost. And so by the time I picked it back up again, my head was just not in the pattern. I didn't really know where I left off, even though I did. It's just, you know, with a pattern like that, you kind of just have to keep going with it, and it has to be top of mind, at least for me. Otherwise, I lose the momentum, and then it's gone. It's done. It's a UFO. So it had to become another project. And the thing about loud colors for me, I'm trying to get into them, but they're way more successful as, like, if I pair a nice color with a simple texture, a simple knit, I think that is like the winning look for me. Because last year I was on like a little bit of a journey of trying to introduce color into my closet. That was with mild success. I definitely did projects with a lot of color. Do I wear them? I don't know. I'm going to have to tell you a little bit about it as we go through. This one, I can't say that I've worn more than twice, but it is a fresh cast off. I cast it off on the 1st of January, but the majority was made in 2024. So of course it is a FO from 2024. This is the Amy sweater by Petite Knit, and it's really, really lovely. I'm looking in the viewfinder and I'm just seeing this beautiful color, and I really love it. I've always wanted a green sweater like this. Definitely, I think when I was originally starting with this yarn, I was talking about maybe leaning more towards a simple stockinette stitch sweater, but then I was in like a kick for texture. I think I kind of knew from the very beginning that it was going to be more my speed if it were in stockinette. So, and a turtleneck like this, it's really, really lovely. I'm really happy. This project was really, really nice to work up, and it honestly was just an example of how you can really just get in the zone with knitting, which is just so unlike me. Usually I am, let's get on to the next step. I want to finish this sweater. I don't know what it is. Maybe it is just trying to wind down after the chaos of the day, probably. I just enjoy the slowness of knitting now a lot more than I can say that I did in previous times. I mean, I think I always said like, oh, I love how slow knitting is, but I'm definitely like an Aries go get it done at heart. And I have to teach myself to slow down. And so this was, I can truly say, where I was just kind of getting lost, and I made it too long in both the sleeves and the body because I just was enjoying, and I was almost procrastinating moving on to the next step because I was just enjoying where I was, and I didn't really want to complicate things by moving on, which is funny. So the sleeves are too long, and the body I wouldn't say is too long. It is just right for my lifestyle right now, how I like to wear things on my body. I really appreciate a nice long sweater. If I have the motivation, I will definitely insert B-roll so you can get a better look, because it is kind of hard when I'm holding it up like this to really see. But if you're lucky, maybe I'll put some of these on so you can see. But yeah, it fits really nicely. Usually in most of the time, because I'm moving on from the body, I want to get onto the sleeves and get the sweater done. I've always made my sweaters cropped. I've lived with that, and actually I preferred that look before having kids. Maybe I liked it okay after having the first kid, but now it's not really how I like to dress anymore. With high-waisted jeans, as much as I love the look, it's just not for me at the moment. And that's totally okay. I'm fine with it. But now we are making sweaters a lot longer, and I'm loving that too. Yeah, so the Amy sweater is really just your basic knit. I also have done the caramel sweater in years past, and I wore that thing to death. I was on the fence if not buying the Amy sweater and just knitting the caramel sweater. Ultimately, I liked the detail on the Amy sweater with the shaping of the neck. You can see the increases. I liked that look. And then I also really loved the rolled hem. I didn't notice this until after wearing it a couple of times, that I actually made a mistake and knit the rolled hem on the neckline backwards. So it's supposed to be the opposite direction, so that when the turtleneck folds over, you have the little garter stitch flipping up. It's flipping down, if you can tell. That was a mistake. I didn't read. Maybe I did read, and I just, again, was just lost in whatever it was I was doing, and I kind of just knew that I knew what I was doing, and I didn't need anyone to tell me otherwise. The rolled hem looks really great on the sleeves. I don't know if I'm going to adjust it on the neckline. It's fine. But it could bother me later. So I won't say that I won't fix it. But I, right now, am going to just live with it, because it really didn't change the wearing of the sweater all that much. I don't think anybody else in my life, again, the non-knitters in my life, who have no idea who Petite Knit is, who have no idea what the Amy sweater is, they think that this sweater looks fantastic, and so do I. Yeah, and also, it's a happy mistake that I knit these sleeves too long. At first, I was like, holy cannoli, that's way too long. I don't want that. But I wore it outside the other day, and it's like freezing temperatures, like 0 degrees Celsius and below. These are like built-in fingerless gloves. Like, they're that long that, like, I think they're like this on me. So it was really nice, actually. We don't believe in bad weather. I think that's the saying. We believe in bad clothes for weather, being poorly dressed for weather. I don't know. There's like a idiom that says that. So I try to get out with the boys every day if I can, if it's not raining. If it's cold and sunny, like, we're definitely going outside, because we can't just stay inside all winter long. It's going to drive us all crazy. And they appreciate it too. So it was really nice to have this sweater, and I think it will do me very well the rest of this winter. It's a very cold one. I don't know if it's the same where you are, but I'm noticing that compared to previous years, this is a very cold winter. So that's the Amy sweater. So it's woolly knit and Katia concept. I'm sorry, I just went right over that. It's like a pistachio color. I think pistachio is the name of the, I don't have it here, the bands or any of the leftover yarn. The mohair is called pistachio green, I believe. The woolly knit cone, I'm not sure. I want to say it's apple, but it's so lovely. If you can see, the color match is fantastic. The green is just beautiful. You guys know that I partner with Squarespace often because I really believe that they are the #1 platform to build an online presence. I use them for myself, my own website. When I was first developing it, I found their platform to be the easiest to use and to have a really wide range of tools at my fingertips to be able to share my content in a very user-friendly way and in a really beautiful way. I think that they offer a wide range of very beautiful layouts, templates that you can take advantage of and build and branch off of and really create a style that reflects you and your brand, whatever it is that you are trying to promote, whether you own a small business, if you just want to share a portfolio of your work. Squarespace is a great place to do that. E-commerce tools, AI tools, scheduling tools, lots of things for you to discover over there. So I really encourage you to go check it out for yourself. Click the link in the description to play around with everything that they have to offer. And then when you're ready, you can use my code, also listed below, to receive 10% off of your first website or domain. Thank you very much, Squarespace, and let's get back into the podcast. Okay, moving on. This is definitely more neutral, millennial gray. This is a cardigan that I probably talk way too much about on this channel, so I'm going to keep it very brief. The Vivian cardigan. That was my cast on before this one, so let me go back. So the Vivian cardigan is a cardigan that I knit years and years and years ago, like almost 5 years now, which is crazy. And it's a wool in the gang pattern that I purchased a kit. It's knit with cotton, and it was such a nice cardigan. It was so basic and just great. My skills back then were not very good, so it had holes already built in, but I still wore it a lot, and then I wore it so much that, you know, it kind of was just falling apart and not really savable. It wore out, you know, cotton over time just tends to wear down. Hopefully not this one as quickly, though. So I was surprised. I was going to do it by memory. I was full on ready because it's a very memorable construction, and I thought like I would be able to kind of just guess my way through. But I was really surprised to find in my craft supplies old Wool in the Gang books. So the kits come with like this little paper booklet, and it has a pattern in it. And I saved not all of the ones that I had, but I guess the ones that I thought were knit worthy, like re-knit worthy. And the Vivian cardigan was one of them. And so I was able to kind of match and see, even though this yarn is not the recommended yarn that I used, I was able to kind of go with the stitch count, which was great. I didn't follow it step by step. Like, I just looked at it for like 2 seconds, the little booklet, and then I threw it back in the storage and kind of just did my thing for the rest. But it was nice to know the cast on stitches for the panels. So how it works is there's 2 garter stitch panels that are then crocheted together at the back. So this is the bottom of the back, as you can see. What I did was just start with a garter stitch and kind of like I'm working a garter stitch scarf, and just went straight on. So it's knit from front to back. There's no like seam at the shoulders or anything like that. So it's just one really long panel. Honestly, it could just be a garter stitch scarf. And then I did that twice. And then I crocheted them together, which if you could compare the first time I did this versus this time, my skills have gotten so good. I was so impressed. So I did a single crochet or some kind of joining crochet at the back, which kind of leans to the side. I don't know if you can tell. So that was kind of annoying to me, but it's not annoying enough to do it over or try anything different. And then once I had those together, I figured out where I wanted the sleeves, which is basically at the middle of the cardigan, like the panel. And then I picked up for sleeves and worked that back and forth in garter stitch, and then joined it all together from the side of the cardigan body to the side of the sleeve. As you can see, it's just one really long join in that same crochet stitch. And then I went back and picked up and did some twisted ribbing at the sleeves. Really, really basic. a great time. This was when I think I cast this on when we were going to go to a movie. I think it was a week before I was due or something. We went to see some movie. And yeah, I needed something easy to knit, and garter stitch was it. And I was like, this is the time. I'm going to work on this thing. And it was great. I finished it in June. I think I finished this around the time that Noah was born. I have his birthday listed here, but I don't believe that it was the day that he was born. But, you know, around that time. So, yeah, I'm really, really happy with how it turned out. I am not so happy with the yarn. The yarn was gifted to me by Rowan. It's Alpaca Soft DK. This was actually gifted in another kit, and I had started on the kit for that, and I frogged it, actually. It was another textured kind of cardigan, but the pattern was really cool, but I did not enjoy knitting it up, so we did not have time for that, you know. I'm not going to push through something that I really did not enjoy working on. I need to enjoy the process too. And so I decided to just use that for this instead. Really, really great, except that I think I'm going to just get rid of alpaca in my life for the time being. I don't really like how it wears. Granted, I didn't pair this with anything. Maybe if I would have paired it with some mohair, it would have worked out. It would have strengthened it up a little bit. But right now, I can say that I haven't heavily worn this. I've worn this a decent amount, but it's not like going through a lot of hardware, and it's pilling quite a bit, which is disappointing, but kind of expected with alpaca. Whereas if you look at all my woolly knit wool knits that are paired with mohair, but they don't look like they've been worn at all. And they have been worn, again, not as much as I would have maybe years previous, especially with a little one, the mohair getting stuck in his mouth, or, you know, just now that he's eating solids, like I'm in the splash zone all the time, and I don't really feel like washing these all that much. But I do know when he gets a lot older, Noah, once he's out of like past a year, I will be a lot more confident wearing my knits more regularly again, which is good. So I can highly recommend this one to anybody. Not so much about the yarn, but check out the Vivian cardigan. I, again, did a lot of modifications to it. I don't know if I would ever be brave enough to share more details like with a how-to video, but, you know, if you have any questions about it, just let me know. Yeah, so then that's moving on to some of the ones that you've already seen. Those two, I think I did completely off camera, like didn't share anything about the process really all that much. Maybe I shared that I started it, the cardigan, but other than that, you haven't seen that it is a finished object now and in regular rotation in my closet. So now we're moving on to things that I'm confident that I have shared, and that is starting with the Ingrid sweater. This is my beautiful yellow Ingrid sweater. It actually looks, did it shrink maybe? Or maybe I'm just like so used to the size of the Amy sweater that this looks really small. So the Ingrid sweater, I started this in April around my birthday. This was a birthday cast on. And I cannot tell you that this was so much fun to work with outside of the house, because this doesn't happen to me often, but when I was working on this, I had multiple people stop me and ask me what I was doing. That doesn't normally happen when I'm knitting all that much, but with this, I think it was just the beautiful color and the texture. It really interested people. They wanted to know, like, what are you doing? How do you do that? So it was a conversation starter, which was quite nice because normally people just leave me alone when I'm knitting at a cafe or something. I was able to get, yeah, this was before, obviously, Noah was born when I casted it on. So, yeah, I had a couple of days where I was able to go out and enjoy a little bit of alone time at a coffee shop, just knitting. And that was a lot of fun to be able to do that and work on projects, you know. It's a nice treat. So I love the finished object of this sweater. Like, as in, I'm proud of it. I'm happy that I did it. This was definitely a project that I did not think I would ever do, just because I would say that I didn't think that I was going to wear it, but I think I would have maybe if it were a different color. But anyway, the knit itself was a lot of fun. I thought that it wasn't going to be an enjoyable knit. I enjoyed when I knit one for Arthur. So this all started when I knit the baby version for Arthur, and I had so much fun with that. But I was thinking, okay, the Ingrid sweater for women, like, that is just going to be such a difficult thing to do, and I don't know if I need that in my life. But it actually was very enjoyable. Just as enjoyable as knitting the smaller version, although it definitely took a lot longer. This says I finished it around Arthur's birthday, so wow, that's like 5 months. This took me. Which, I mean, looking at it, it is complicated, so, I mean, that's realistic. That's real life. One thing that I did that I'm not so happy with is the modification on the neckline. I think sometimes patterns are knit for a reason, and you should follow the steps. Not everything needs to be modified, and that's a lesson that I need to learn. That's not to say that there aren't things that we can do to save this. Redoing the neckline is one of them. I think I'm definitely going to go back and do that at some point, and then lengthening the sleeves a little bit, I think will add, especially since I love the look of the Amy sweater sleeves, like how long they are. Definitely going to go back and do that. This turned out cropped as well, and I didn't realize how cropped exactly the mistake was going to make it, and I didn't actually mention this, I don't think, when I first finished the sweater. Did I show this to you? I thought that I shared this, but if it finished in September, then maybe this is the first time you're seeing it. What I actually did, I made a mistake on this lattice portion, the last lattice portion of the body. If you can see it right here, there is a diamond lattice repeat missing. So there's supposed to be 3 instead of 2. And while I was doing it, I was too far gone. I did not feel like frogging. I was already on the garter stitch part, just underneath, like after doing the eyelets and things, and I saw it and I was just like, that's not that much. But it actually did make a huge difference on how it sits in the body, so it's just a little bit more cropped than I would like, as I've mentioned. Not really into the whole crop sweater thing, so it would be nice also to go back and maybe I would just lengthen the ribbing at the bottom and kind of just hope that that kind of works out. And then if I do the same on the sleeves, I think I misunderstood the instructions and I made the garter, or what am I saying? I made the 1x1 rib just way too short. I don't know what I was thinking. But you know, this timeline between April and September, my brain was not all there, I have to tell you. So as far as knitting goes, it's just amazing that I even finished something like this. So I'm going to take that as a win, and we'll just make those little modifications and see if it makes it a more wearable piece for me. But again, it's not to say that it's not beautiful. I think it's very beautiful. I think the color is stunning. It's just one of those things that I keep going back and forth on. We talk about this. I'm not sure if this is a good color for me necessarily, but it is one of those things that I would always see on social media and be like, I need a yellow sweater in my life. And now I have a yellow sweater and I'm just like, did I really need a yellow sweater? I'm really hoping that those little modifications that I just mentioned, if I just take the time to do them, they might have a huge impact. And I did kind of learn that lesson last year when I revisited my Wednesday sweater and changed the neckline. That had a real impact on how I wore it. So if I just take, and it didn't take much time at all, so if I take just a little bit of time to rework a sweater to fit me better, that would be, it will make a huge difference, more so than casting on an entire new project, you know? And also, again, the lesson of don't always modify, don't think you always know better. In some cases you do, of course, but sometimes a sweater is designed in a way. The neckline is what I'm talking about. With regards to the neckline, I wasn't sure if it would work out, but I think it would make the sweater fit a lot nicer too. I think the way that I rolled that little crew neck, it's not how the sweater is intended to be worn, so maybe it might sit better on the body if I knit it the way that it was intended. Okay, moving on. Talking about loud pieces. This one, however, is just a stunner and a winner. And I wear this one probably, I wear this one more than all the other sweaters that I made last year. On the short list of sweaters, this one is definitely number one. This is a sweater that I've wanted to make for years. Ever since it came out, it was always on my radar, and I just never did, whether it was not believing in my skill set, just waiting until I became that much better of a knitter, and then later it would be just like, well, I don't have the mental capacity to do it, or, just always having excuses on why not to tackle it. And I'm really happy that I went ahead and did that. And that's something that I really want to remember for this year. I am not going to set boundaries on myself, again, with the Ingrid sweater too. It's two things that I actually really enjoyed working on at the end of the day. It's just like that mental block for whatever reason, not getting into it, not wanting to get into it. It's just silly. So this is sweater number 15, of course, by My Favorite Things Knitwear. It's a really lovely sweater. This is also knit with woolly knit. The Ingrid sweater was knit with woolly knit. I'm sorry I didn't mention that. It's a beautiful yellow cone. This one is a beautiful like cobalt blue. Really lovely. And I knit it with drops mohair. So not Katia concept this time. Drops mohair, is just as soft. So if I compare the two, there's really not much of a difference. And I think only this one feels a little bit softer because it's freshly cleaned. This one, it's been through some stuff and I haven't washed it yet. But it's still holding up really nicely. Like I said, this looks like it's barely been worn, but it's probably one that goes through the most daily wear. I just love the squishiness of the sweater. It's a size medium. All of these I've started knitting in size medium. Previously I would knit size small, mainly because of the chest area. After having my babies, I breastfeed, so that's obviously changed. I don't know if should I have said that? Anyway, but all of that to say is I knit this in a medium and it's way bigger than I really wanted it to. I think that's probably just how it was designed also. I could have gotten away with a small because I think sweater 15 is supposed to be a little bit more oversized. I just particularly don't enjoy the way that, now I'm nitpicking, but there's just something about the way that it fits around my shoulders to make up for how much space there is for the chest. I just think it looks a little baggy. There's something about this that doesn't sit right on the body, and I don't know what it is, if I should have knit a size smaller, or maybe it's just how it's designed. And the sleeves are a little bit like more wide set than I'd like. It also has probably a lot to do with the color. Because again, like when I wear it, it's just the color thing. Like I don't feel 100% confident in it because I just don't normally wear such bold colors. So when I put them on, I'm like, ugh. But I'm trying to get out of that. Like shock therapy. It's not working. It's really beautiful. Love the way that it looks on camera, of course, but my life is not always on camera. But paired with my really red, I have like a blood red winter hat that I wear, the Oslo hat. I made it in 2023 in December, so last winter, and I love the two together. I look like a walking American flag. It's very obvious where I come from if I'm walking down the street. My parents and I have always joked that it's funny when you come to Europe, especially for them, you know, they live in the US and then they come to Europe and they see every European is just in dark clothes, like black umbrella, black coat, black boots, like everything that's so European. And then they come and they have like bright coats and things. It might not always be true for like cyclists and things. Biking is really big around here, so the cyclists definitely wear loud colors, but it is generally true that most of the Europeans are all in dark colors. So yeah, I just feel very obvious. I don't feel as incognito when I wear this sweater, but I do really, really love it. I really loved making it, and it did feel like such an accomplishment when it was all said and done. There's just, you know, always things that I feel like could be improved upon. If I ever did this again, I might consider knitting the smaller size, one size down. But this definitely made me want to continue to knit cables. This is what made me also want to work on more textured knits, hence later cast-ons and things. So I'm really loving this. It is definitely getting easier to put it on and feel confident in it. At first it was very drastic, like it was just a stark thing, but now it's just a nice blue sweater and I really love it. The yarn combination, really, really great. And the pattern also very great, which is why everyone and their mother has knit it, I think. And the last finished object from 2024, going off of the theme of getting out of my comfort zone, that was really the theme of last year. And this one is the Mega Erica jumper. I still can't pinpoint what exactly made me feel like this was a must cast on. I think I wanted to just get out there and just do something. And then I made a little bit of a safer choice with the navy. I thought like, oh yeah, it'll be a lot better. I'm going to be honest with you. I have not figured out how to wear this jumper. I have tried wearing it a couple of times. I just can't figure out an outfit. I'm not crazy about it with jeans, although that's like the easiest thing, a sweater with jeans. I like pairing some of my long sleeves underneath this. I think it's fun to see the little pop of color come out from underneath. I have like a nice light blue or a nice light green long sleeve shirt, and it looks really pretty underneath. But it's just the bottoms. I just don't know what to wear with the bottoms on the bottom. So, you know, we'll figure it out. But it is one of those things that I'm just happy to have in my wardrobe as like an option. It's just like every time I see it, I'm just like, huh, I could go there. I could do that. Why not? And then I don't. But this is a spectacle strick pattern. I was like all over her Instagram at some point last year, just saving a bunch of her patterns. I would definitely encourage you to go check her out. This is woolly knit again with some mohair, like a local craft yarn store, Veritas. It's Belgian, I think. It might also be in the Netherlands, but probably you can't get it. And anyway, I only had one skein of it because I remember I also had to find matching yarn. That was a huge drama because I started this with just one skein of that, and it was a perfect match for the navy. And then every other skein, I went back to the store to try and get more, and they changed the color of their navy. So then I had to find something else, and that's when I discovered Katia Concept Mohair. So it was love from the very beginning. It had a perfect color match with the previous mohair that I used, and then it was crisis averted. Again, I had a lot of fun with this. I've said this many, many times every time this has been featured. It's a really fun, like, unique piece and a lot of fun to knit. Mesh, I could totally see why it was such a trend. It probably wasn't a trend last year, but it was the year before, because I'm late to those those kind of trends, and I enjoyed knitting it up. I can see why everybody was casting them on and making all kinds of fun mesh pieces. Yeah, it's just a little difficult to style, I think. Maybe I'm just now thinking like a bodycon dress or something with a nice long skirt. That could kind of be cute. yeah, there's more experimenting to be done here. I also finished it at a weird time in my pregnancy where I really couldn't fit into anything that I made. So a lot of these weren't really tested until now. So I'm still trying to figure things out. So I haven't had as much time to play around with it than you might think, considering I finished this in April. I started it in January of last year and finished it in April. So I think that that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 finished sweaters in 2024. I'm really proud of that. I think that that's realistic and something to be proud of. It's difficult sometimes when you share progress. It's discouraging for me, just on the real side, when I'm sharing progress, but I don't feel like I have a lot of videos, but not a lot to show for it. That seems kind of weird in my head. But this year, I think for 2024, I have a lot to be proud of and a lot of new sweaters to be able to wear this season, which is really, really nice. It's a nice change. Okay, so we've gone through all of the finished objects from 2024, but I did start other projects that just haven't gotten done yet. And I want to share a couple of those with you as well. Let me open. I think... So there's only 3. One is very recent, so it's not like it's been on the needles for a really long time, and it's a current whip. So this one has been sitting, excuse me, for quite some time. I started this in September, and does that... I don't remember exactly what my rule was, but I think I had to finish one of these. In September, I finished the Ingrid sweater, so maybe it was just after casting off the Ingrid sweater that I was just like, okay, now I can get started on another bucket list type knit for me, which is the Jenny sweater. This is a sweater that I've always wanted to make for myself. It was something that I looked at it and I was like, wow, that's so beautiful, but I would never be able to knit that. Not, again, so much for skill, but more for motivation. These more complex knits take a lot of convincing, obviously. But I just went with it, and I was gripped by the smocking stitch pattern. This is actually not my first time working on the smocking stitch. I did Carl's cardigan for my Baby Knits marathon, which is actually a long time ago now, like 3 years ago. I was working on it, which it just feels like yesterday. So time is just wild, isn't it? But here you can see the smocking stitch detail. It looks so, so good. Here, I'm going to put these back in here so it doesn't look like I'm sitting next to an empty laundry basket. There. And this is with, I even have the yarn with me. So this is woolly knit also. This is Kalina in their merino wool, 4-ply merino wool. I'm really in love with how it is. I knew with the Jenny sweater, I was going to go classic. I wanted it exactly how it looks in the pattern, photos. I wanted it to look exactly like that. So again, I used woolly knit, which is my number 1, and Katia Concept mohair in pearl gray. So Kalina gray for the merino and pearl gray for the mohair. And, you know, just a note on woolly knit. I don't know if I said this already. If I did, I'll edit it out. But I really, really love woolly knit. They, of course, sent me a lot of yarn. And so I've just been slowly trying to work my way through it and not purchase anything else, which is why the majority of my projects are in woolly knit. It's just because I have so much of it. However, I wouldn't be working with it if I didn't actually really love it. So that is my stamp of approval. That is why I'm working with only woolly knit, is because, well, I have a lot of it, but I wouldn't be using it if I didn't like it. So I finished the body. This is different because it's a down-up construction. So I started with the ribbing at the bottom and then worked my way up. And I'm on hold waiting to add the sleeves, and I started working on one sleeve already. I think this should be, I think I'm done. What I didn't realize though, I thought because I went to pick this back up not too long ago, and I didn't realize that I actually ran out of mohair and I need to order more. I didn't somehow remember that, and I just thought that I stopped working on the sleeve and didn't want to continue working on the second sleeve. But I stopped working on the sleeve and I just ran out of yarn at the exact point where I finished the sleeve. So I need to order some more yarn before I can work on this, but it's been sitting for quite a while. Yeah, in December, instead of casting on something new, I wanted to try and start the second sleeve, but ran out of yarn. But I finished the first sleeve in October, so this has been on hold for quite some time. And I need to pick it back up and just get it done because I'm nearly there, you know? This is really different though. Mentally, it's hard for me to believe that I'm almost done, just the way that the construction is. I'm just so not used to working a sweater up this way. So mentally, when I'm picturing the sweater, I don't feel like it's as close to being done as it actually is. But so much fun, so easy. The smocking stitch detail is gorgeous, but it doesn't take that much extra effort. It takes a lot of yarn though. So I thought, I didn't actually compare what the pattern said to the mohair. I just kind of ordered what I needed for a normal sweater, but the smocking stitch uses so much extra yarn that's why I ran out. So, but then it's also been a problem. I had to reorder a lot of mohair actually recently. So anyway, that's a separate thing. Okay, so we went on another journey later on. I wanted to make the Dagmar jacket by Petite Knit. And I'm not going to go into a whole tangent about that because I ended up switching. I just wanted to let you know that I started it and then I decided, you know what, I don't want to work on this right now. And I think it was because I was bouncing from project to project, and that is definitely for me not a project that I need to bounce around. I need to decide that I'm working on it and like monogamously work on that, because the chart and everything, even if I was crossing stuff off, I think I was working on the back yoke and then I put it down for a little while. And again, it's not even that it's difficult. I can take notes and everything. It's just like the mental block of being able to do it. It's just something. It's something for me. I don't know. Do you have the same thing? Because it's clearly a problem for me. So I anyway just took the Drops Alaska yarn that I was using for that project. This beautiful pearl gray, another gray project. And I decided that I wanted to work on the Emerson pullover by Vivian Xiao Chen. I love Vivian Xiao Chen for her sewing patterns. I've made a couple of her, like her top and her dress, the orchard dress. And beautiful patterns, really, really fun to work up and really straightforward. Perfect for a beginning sewist like myself. So she dipped her toes into knitting a couple of years ago. And I remember when this pullover pattern came out. I loved it, of course, but again, you can love so much and then just forget it, and the to knit list is always so much longer than what you can actually do. But I'm really happy to say that I was able to get started on the pattern. I didn't purchase it when it first came out, so I went ahead and it just was like one of those things where I was frogging the Dagmar jacket and then I was trying to figure out like what else could I use this yarn for? Like, what does this yarn... Sometimes the yarn tells you what it wants to be, I guess. And I hadn't seen anything about the Emerson pullover in so long, years, in fact. And it just popped into my head. And then I was like Googling or searching in Instagram and I found it. And I was looking at inspiration and I was just like, yep, that's the one. So it's this beautiful brioche patterned jumper. Very, what is that? What is that clothing store? I was obsessed with it years ago. If I can remember, I will put it on the screen. But it really reminds me of the things that you can find there. So it definitely reminds me of that brand. I hope I can share that brand with you if I think about it. But it's really lovely. This is going to be a really large enveloping kind of sweater, I think, when it's all said and done. And brioche, I never had knit brioche before. I did half fisherman's rib, which I guess is kind of similar, but this was actually pretty easy to pick up. But I will admit I had to restart the first steps so many times. Holy cannoli, like I was just in like some weird loop where I just kept messing up, and it wasn't even that difficult. I just, again, mentally, I knit at the end of the day. I'm very tired at the end of the day. I only have maybe 1 to 2 good hours in me before I'm a vegetable, and then I'm ready to go to bed. So, yeah, that's my defense for having to restart this over and over again. At this point where it's at, it's just kind of, brioche is a lot. And it might also be this yarn in combination with the needles. It's just really tiring on my fingers. And I think that has more to do with the yarn and the needle combination than it does the stitch itself. Because brioche is actually a lot of fun, and the repeat is really easy to remember. Which doesn't say anything about my fingers, but you know what I mean? Like, it's really simple to do. But it's just tiring for me right now. And this is such a big whip right now that it's not really my favorite to dig up, but I've been slowly working at it every once in a while. The thing about the Drops Alaska that I'm working with is that the skeins are really small, so the yarn runs out pretty easily. So I've just been doing it one skein at a time, and that's actually been really manageable for me. Like, I knit a little bit and then I run out of yarn. So then I put it down and work on something else, or take a little bit of a break and in a couple days get back to it and kind of repeat the same process. So I've actually enjoyed working that way. I have a lot of yarn left, a lot of skeins to get through. So I know I'm nowhere finished, but this will be really nice when it's all said and done. And I hope I have enough. I just hope I have enough. This is just going to be, I think, especially after blocking, a lot bigger. I didn't do a swatch or anything. I think it's just going to shock me how large it is. Because again, I knit the medium in this one too. Which it's supposed to be oversized. So we'll see. Maybe I'll shorten. Because I know it grows a lot, brioche. I don't know how much width-wise it will grow. That will be a surprise. Not sure if it's going to be a pleasant one or not. Okay, so we're coming to the end of these things. One more cast on that I will be working on for the foreseeable future is one that is not for me. Wow! You'll notice that I didn't actually knit anything for the boys at all this year. I have a lot of baby knits left over for Noah to dive into, and also he is a chunky baby, so anything that I would knit for him and have time to finish, he would outgrow immediately. Even he's in 1-year-old clothes, like stuff that Arthur fit in at 1 year, Noah is fitting into at 6 months. It is the wildest thing, and it hurts my heart a little bit. But I've also accepted it. So there is a gift knit coming, and it's for my husband, for Raz. I'm really excited because it's one that he's loved to death. You know, I wasn't really sure when I knit the first one for my husband how he was going to like it. I really had hopes that he was going to love the sweater that I made for him. So I knit him the zipper sweater man by Petite Knit a couple years ago when Arthur was just a little baby, so 2 years ago. And he has worn that thing so much. It was also knit with Drops Nord, which is an alpaca blend, and that's to say that it has been kind of wearing out pretty easily. It pills really, really easily. So I'm going to knit him another one, and this time I'm using Drops Alaska for this one as well, in this nice little navy color. And this is how far I've gotten. So not very, but You know, I think it might surprise me how fast we will get through. I had all of the intentions to start this in the fall, but I just got carried away with other projects for myself. And when the first of the year came, I was like, okay, if I get started on this now, he probably won't be able to wear it this winter. But I need to start it now regardless, because if I procrastinate it for next year or for next fall, he's not going to be able to wear it then either, because I'm just going to not finish it until 2026. So we casted it on. We don't know if we're going to finish it in time for him to wear it this year, but I have high hopes right now. I think it might actually work out. I'm hoping it will work out. But there's no guarantees, right? So there's really not a lot of progress to show, but I'm working on the folded collar. I did Judy's Magic Cast On, which, used to give me the biggest heartache on the planet, and now it was manageable. So I think that says a lot about where I've come. There's really not much to say about it other than that I'm not only going to be knitting for myself this year. And finally, the last thing that I wanted to share is another potential cast on for myself. Of course, I want to get through at least one of the Jenny sweater or the Emerson pullover. I don't know which one that will be, but hopefully I'll finish one of them. And then I want to work on the Norma sweater by My Favorite Things Knitwear, which is a colorwork pattern. So I've dived into structured knits, and now I want to do some color work. And these are the colors that I was hoping for. We have this really lovely chocolate brown. Again, all woolly knit cones. So this is a really beautiful color. And then I was thinking for the accent colors, I would work up this. It's not the green from the Amy pullover, but it's just some other kind of citron from woolly knit. And then a white too. How that is going to go on the little stripe motif, I'm not 100% sure. I'm still going to play around with it. I don't have a swatch or anything, but these are the ones that I set aside in my little bookshelf of yarn to work that one up. So there you have it. Those are the pieces that I managed to finish in 2024, and some that I'm looking forward to working on at the start of this year. I don't know where my projects will take me this year. I'm really looking forward to sharing more about that maybe in an upcoming video. And I'm happy to be uploading again and looking forward to discovering different ways that I can incorporate my life into YouTube. So, I'm definitely going to keep some knit and chats and podcast formats. Might be diving into other areas as well. Of course, it's all going to be under the theme of making. And Well Loved Knits will still remain Well Loved Knits, but I might sneak in a couple of other interests here and there. So thank you for sitting down with me and chatting a little bit about these projects. I would love to hear what you've been up to. It's been so long, so please leave a comment down below just saying hi so we can get reacquainted, and I would love to read through them and chat with you guys down there. Okay, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.